My child, I need your full attention right now because what I am about to say has been waiting for this exact moment. Do not let this pass as just another message scrolling through your day. I have chosen this second to interrupt everything around you and speak directly into the place where your heart has been carrying questions, unspoken pain, and quiet hope all at once. Before another thought enters your mind, before fear speaks again, before memory pulls you back into what has made you weary, I want you to become still inside. Because what I am saying now is connected to prayers you thought were too small to matter. I know where you are emotionally, even if no one around you fully understands it. I know the thoughts you kept to yourself today. I know the heaviness you carried while appearing strong to everyone else. I know the silent battle between hope and exhaustion that has been happening inside you. That is why I am speaking now with urgency, because there are moments when heaven does not wait for perfect conditions before sending a word. There are moments when I speak because your spirit needs immediate reassurance that you have not been forgotten. Do not pass this by because this is the answer connected to words you spoke when no one else was listening. There were prayers you did not pray in public, prayers you did not shape carefully, prayers spoken when your voice trembled, when tears interrupted sentences, when even language felt weak beside what your heart was carrying. I remember those moments more clearly than you realize. I remember the exact tone of your voice when you asked if I still saw you. I remember the nights when you whispered only a few words because strength was almost gone. I remember when you asked questions with no confidence left, when you prayed not with certainty but with need. Some of those prayers were spoken in darkness, some while lying awake, some while sitting quietly because your heart was too full to explain itself. My child, none of them disappeared. Not one sentence dissolved into emptiness. Not one whispered cry was lost between earth and heaven. I heard every whisper, every tear-filled prayer, every sentence you could barely finish. Even the prayers you thought were incomplete reached me fully because I understand what your tears say when words fail. I know the difference between spoken prayer and silent pain, and I hear both with equal clarity. I heard when you paused because emotion took your breath. I heard when you tried to be strong but your voice became weak. I heard when you repeated the same question because you had no new words left. I heard prayers spoken through trembling, through disappointment, through waiting, through fear, and through tired faith that still refused to disappear completely. My child, I hear the prayer before you finish speaking it because your heart is never hidden from me. Even when you thought heaven was silent, I was already moving behind what you could not see. Silence has often made you think nothing was happening. But silence before heaven is not the same as absence. There are many things I begin quietly because visible movement often starts beneath what your eyes can measure. While you were counting days wondering why answers had not yet appeared, I was already moving through places you could not enter. I was touching details you did not know needed touching. I was restraining what you did not know was near. I was shifting timing where things were not yet ready. I was opening paths that still looked closed because their opening had not yet reached your sight. What you called silence often held deep movement hidden beneath it. You believed your cries were disappearing into silence, but they were entering my presence one by one. Every cry arrived before me carrying exact meaning. Every hidden tear reached me with a story attached to it. Heaven does not receive pain as vague sound. Heaven receives every cry with full understanding of what caused it. I know which tears came from betrayal, which came from fear, which came from exhaustion, which came from loneliness, which came from disappointment you could not explain to anyone else. Nothing blurred together before me. Every cry entered with clarity and every cry mattered. There were moments when you wondered if the repeated nature of your prayers meant I would stop listening because you asked the same thing so many times. But my child, repeated pain does not make me impatient. Repeated prayer does not make me turn away. I heard you every time because every time the cry came, it still mattered. I do not listen less because you ask again. I do not care less because tears return. I remain attentive because the heart that comes honestly before me is never treated as noise. If this is speaking to your heart right now, let me know by leaving a comment below. Sometimes just typing out what you are feeling can be the beginning of breakthrough. I want you attentive now because answers often first appear in ways that seem small before they become clear. If your heart remains trapped in old disappointment, You may fail to recognize the first signs that what you ask for is already pressing closer than before. I move heaven for you today. Hear that with seriousness, because I am not speaking empty comfort. There are moments when heaven responds in ways deeper than human understanding can immediately measure. What you cannot yet see fully has already begun shifting. What you think still stands untouched has already felt my hand where your eyes have not looked yet. I moved where resistance had lasted too long. I moved where delay had held too tightly. I moved where hidden answers were waiting for the right moment to begin reaching you. You may not yet hold visible proof in your hands, but that does not mean movement has not already begun. This message is for the one who prayed when strength was almost gone. It is for the one who did not pray with bold certainty, but with trembling honesty. It is for the one who kept whispering, even when faith felt small. It is for the one who cried quietly because words were too hard to form. It is for the one who kept returning to me even when silence made the heart question everything. I know what it costs to keep praying when disappointment has already visited many times. I know how difficult it becomes to remain open when answers seem delayed. That is why I am speaking with such closeness now, because your continued turning toward me in weakness has not gone unseen. This is not luck. This is not chance. Do not reduce what I am doing to coincidence. Do not call random what has been shaped through prayer, tears, timing, and divine attention. What is shifting around you carries purpose deeper than accident. Even what appears ordinary may soon reveal meaning you did not expect. The answer forming is not because circumstances suddenly changed by themselves. It is because prayer has waited before heaven, and what reached me did not remain unanswered. This is me responding personally, powerfully, and on purpose. I am not distant from your cry. I am not watching your pain from far away without entering it. I respond because your life matters before me personally. My child, there were many moments when words failed you, when your heart carried more than your mouth could explain, when the pain inside you became too deep for sentences, and all that remained was silence mixed with tears. I want you to know that even in those moments when language felt broken and your thoughts could not gather themselves clearly, nothing was lost before me. Your tears were speaking even when your words failed. I understood what your soul was saying before you fully understood it yourself. I knew what each tear carried because tears do not fall without meaning, and no tear from your eyes has ever reached the ground without passing first before my attention. There were nights when you tried to pray, and only a few words came. You wanted to explain what hurt, but your heart felt too full, too tired, too wounded, too confused. You began with one sentence and then silence took over because emotion became heavier than speech. In those moments you may have wondered whether prayer had truly happened, because you did not finish what you wanted to say. But my child, prayer did happen because tears became prayer language. I heard what your tears declared when your mouth could no longer continue. I heard what was hidden inside every breath you struggled to steady. Heaven does not require perfect words when pain becomes deep. Heaven understands tears with complete clarity. Some tears came quietly so that no one around you would notice. Some came after you had already smiled through the day and finally found a private moment where strength no longer needed to pretend. Some came late at night when memory returned without warning, when certain names, certain losses, certain disappointments rose again inside you, and your heart became heavy all over again. Those tears spoke clearly before me. I knew exactly why they came. I knew which memory caused them. I knew what sentence spoken earlier that day touched an old wound again. I knew what hidden fear returned while you sat alone. I counted all of it because hidden pain is never hidden from me. There were tears after betrayal when trust felt shaken, and you did not know how to explain why the pain cut so deeply. Betrayal often wounds beyond words because it leaves questions where answers should be, silence where truth should have been, and confusion where peace once lived. I saw those tears too. I saw when you replayed conversations trying to understand what changed and when. I saw when you asked whether you had missed signs, whether your kindness had been misplaced, whether your openness had somehow become weakness. Even when you spoke none of that aloud, your tears carried every question, and I heard them as clearly as spoken prayer. There were tears after rejection when you felt unseen, when effort seemed unnoticed, when love did not return in the way your heart hoped it would. Rejection often creates pain that words cannot easily explain because it touches places inside you connected to worth, belonging, and longing. I saw the tears that came when silence from others felt louder than anything spoken. I saw when you wondered why your sincerity seemed unanswered. I saw when your heart became quiet because disappointment had no simple language. There were tears after exhaustion too, when nothing dramatic had happened in that moment. Yet the weight of many days became too much and emotion finally overflowed. You did not always cry because one single event happened. Sometimes you cried because your heart had been carrying many small burdens for too long. Delayed answers, hidden fears, unanswered questions, tired hope, repeated waiting. Even those tears spoke. I knew they were not random emotion. I knew they came because your soul had reached a point where it needed release. My child, I counted hidden pain, even when you tried to hide it from yourself. There were moments when you told yourself you were fine while inwardly carrying more than you admitted. There were tears you quickly wiped away because you did not want to fully face what was rising inside you. There were moments when emotion came unexpectedly, and you tried to control it because you feared what deeper honesty might reveal. But nothing inside you remained hidden from me. I counted pain you could not name yet. I counted grief you had not fully accepted. I counted disappointment you were still trying to explain away. You may think tears show weakness, but often tears are where truth finally speaks honestly. Tears are where the soul stops pretending that everything is simple. Tears are where hidden burdens finally rise enough to be acknowledged. That is why tears matter deeply before me. They are not interruptions to prayer. Many times they are prayer in its purest form. When tears came, your heart was speaking without defense, without polished language, without effort to appear strong. In that honesty, I remained close. There were tears that no one ever knew happened. Tears in rooms where no one entered. Tears in moments between ordinary tasks. Tears after hearing certain words that touched deeper than others understood. My child, not one of those hidden moments escaped my attention. I counted hidden pain not because I wished you to remain in sorrow, but because what I count I also care for deeply. Some of your tears came because words from others stayed with you longer than they should have. A sentence spoken carelessly by someone else remained in your mind and opened something tender. A silence from someone you trusted became heavier than expected. A disappointment you tried to move beyond returned suddenly in a quiet moment. I knew why tears returned even when you did not want them to. I understood why certain wounds still spoke even after time passed. And still, even when tears returned many times over the same matter, I did not grow tired of your sorrow. I did not say you should be beyond this by now. I did not measure your pain impatiently. I stayed near because healing does not always move in straight lines. Sometimes tears return because another layer is being touched. Another hidden ache is rising. Another memory is loosening its hold, little by little. If you have felt every word of this deeply, I encourage you to share this message with someone who needs to hear it today. Your simple act of sharing might be exactly what reaches someone at their breaking point. My child, tears became prayer language because they carried what language could not. They carried longing, fear, disappointment, hope, confusion, love, grief, and quiet trust all at once. Sometimes one tear held more truth than many sentences could have explained, and I received them with tenderness every time. This is why I want you to feel close to me now. Never think that silence during tears meant you were alone. Never think that because words failed, prayer stopped. Never think that hidden pain passed unnoticed because others did not see it. I saw every trembling breath, every wet pillow, every turned face, every quiet pause, every shaking hand, every effort to stay calm while tears still came. Even now there are tears you have not yet cried, fully because your heart still holds certain things carefully. I know those too. I know what remains beneath the surface, what still waits for full healing, what still rises unexpectedly when certain thoughts return. Nothing hidden inside you is distant from me. I want you to understand something crucial about the waiting you have endured. The silence you experienced was never empty. It was filled with preparation you could not see. While you thought nothing was moving, I was arranging details far beyond your view. I was working in hearts you could not reach. I was shifting circumstances you had no power to change. I was removing obstacles before you even knew they existed. I was preparing you in ways that only time and patience could accomplish. During those long nights when you wondered if your prayers were even reaching heaven, I was already answering them in ways you had not imagined. During those moments when you felt forgotten, I was remembering you with such specific attention that every detail of your situation was being handled personally. During the seasons when you thought you were losing ground, you were actually gaining exactly what you needed for the next chapter. The waiting was not wasted. It was working. Every day you continued to trust while seeing no visible change. Faith was being refined. Every moment you chose hope over despair, strength was being built. Every time you prayed again despite disappointment, your spirit was being prepared for what I was bringing. The delay was not denial. The silence was not rejection. The waiting was necessary because some answers require preparation that takes time. There were things in you that needed to shift before the answer could come. There were things around you that needed to change before the door could open. There were things ahead of you that needed to be arranged before the path could be revealed. I was not making you wait because I did not care. I was making you wait because I cared so deeply that I refused to give you something before you were ready to receive it fully. I was protecting you from answers that would have arrived too soon. I was shielding you from doors that would have opened to the wrong place. I was guarding you from blessings that would have come before the foundation was strong enough to hold them. You are closer now than you have ever been. What has felt impossibly far is pressing nearer with every passing moment. The breakthrough you have been asking for is not distant anymore. It is forming, shaping, moving toward the moment when it will finally become visible to your eyes. Do not lose heart now when you are standing so close to the edge of change. Can you feel it? That subtle shift in your spirit that tells you something is different. That quiet knowing that the season is changing even though the circumstances have not fully reflected it yet. Pay attention to that. It is not wishful thinking. It is spiritual discernment recognizing what heaven has already set in motion. You are sensing the movement before you see the evidence because your spirit is more sensitive to my activity than your natural eyes. There have been small signs already that you may have dismissed as coincidence. A conversation that happened at just the right moment, a thought that came to you out of nowhere and gave you peace. A door that closed and instead of devastation you felt unexpected relief. A person who showed up when you needed them most. A provision that came from an unexpected source. These were not accidents. These were previews. These were hints of what I am doing behind what you can see. I am asking you to trust me one more time. Trust me when the evidence still seems absent. Trust me when the waiting feels too long. Trust me when doubt whispers that nothing will ever change. Trust me because I have never once stopped working on your behalf. Every prayer you have prayed is still active before me. Every tear you have cried still matters. Every moment of faithfulness has been building toward this. Some of you reading this right now are on the very edge of breakthrough, and you do not even realize it. You think you are still in the middle of the battle, but you are actually at the end. You think the hardest part is still ahead, but the hardest part is already behind you. You think you still have so far to go, but the finish line is closer than you imagine. If you can sense that in your spirit right now, leave a comment and let me know. Sometimes we need to speak it out loud to make it real. What is about to unfold will make sense of the waiting. You will look back and understand why certain doors had to close, why certain delays had to happen, why certain paths had to redirect. You will see that my timing was not slow but perfect. You will recognize that what I was doing in the hidden seasons was far more important than what you were asking me to do in the visible ones. So stand firm now, keep your heart open. Stay alert to what I am doing. Do not let weariness steal your expectation. Do not let past disappointments cloud your vision for what is ahead. Do not let the enemy convince you that this time will be like all the others. This time is different because the season has shifted. This time is different because preparation is complete. This time is different because heaven has already released what you have been asking for. It is moving toward you now. You may not see it yet, but it is coming. You may not feel it yet, but it is near. You may not understand how, but it is already in motion. Trust what I am telling you. Believe what I am speaking over your life. Receive what I am declaring into your future. The waiting is ending. The silence is breaking. The change is coming. And when it arrives, you will know beyond doubt that this was my hand, my timing, my faithfulness, and my love answering every prayer you thought went unheard. I have been with you through every moment of the waiting, and I will be with you in every moment of the fulfillment. You are not alone. You have never been alone. And the best is still ahead. Hold on to that truth. Let it anchor your heart. Let it steady your faith. Let it carry you through these final moments before breakthrough becomes visible. I am speaking life over your situation right now. I am speaking change over what has felt stuck. I am speaking breakthrough over what has felt blocked. And my words do not return void. They accomplish exactly what I send them to do. So receive this word today. Let it settle deep into your spirit. Let it push back against every lie that has tried to convince you otherwise. Let it remind you that I am faithful, I am present, I am working, and I am about to show you exactly what my faithfulness looks like when heaven moves on your behalf. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your breakthrough. And nothing can stop what I have already set in motion. Type Amen if you receive this word. And if this message has touched your heart, share it with someone who needs this same encouragement today.